ask about each person's experience, but I'm sure each person in here has some level of experience that we can all learn from. But considering the time that we have, we're just going to try to manage it as best as we can. So the session I have is business acumen for HR professionals. Now, maybe some words are missing because this is a basic discussion. We don't expect that at the end of this session you'll have an MBA kind of exposure, but at least we can stir up the discussion and stir curiosity. For some of us, it's a reminder of some of those basic feelings that we already know. And for some people, it's the first time they're coming across some of the things that we'll be discussing. But either way, each group will find value in the session. That's it, guarantee. So talk about business acumen for HR professionals. I mean, it's a very interesting time to be in HR. We are no longer content as HR people with just being told what to do. So fire that person. Okay, so we are hiring so number of people. We want to be part of the decision-making process. We want to be consulted before they even take those decisions, right? But how do we get there? Now, HR people have devised a lot of means. Okay, so, I mean, if you have HR heads here, I mean, I've seen some HR heads who have invested so much time in developing the relationship between them and the CEO or the MD because they are leveraging on that. They think that is most critical. But as we go on, you find out that more and more we are beginning to realize that that won't suffice. Now, let me give you an example. So your CEO is in his office, he has just watched a presentation on Bloomberg or CNBC, and he has found out that the dollar rate has changed, or the price of oil has gone down. Maybe what you do in your company is you manufacture plastics. How does that affect you? Maybe you provide service, you run a restaurant. How does that affect you? But the CEO is troubled. He knows that there are implications. Just by seeing those things, there are implications for your organization. And guess who he calls? Who? No. If that happens in your organization, who gets called? CFO, right? Why not the HR head? Why not? So you see, at that point, the man needed a kind of value which he thinks that you cannot deliver. Much as you are his friend, he doesn't trust you to have the level of competence that can manage his need at that point. And we are saying that's incorrect. HR has to move away from that. And that's why sometimes when they're going to have that kind of strategic meeting, don't even call HR until they have decided. Guess what? Even when they call HR, sometimes just the HR person will just sit there and wait for them to finish. And then she'll ask, so what are we going to do now? How many people are we letting go? Understand? Whereas we can deliver greater value if we understand some things better. We can deliver greater value if we are more in control. Haven't you seen sometimes when HR will say, let's increase the bonus for everybody, or let's pay bonus to everyone. And then the CFO will say, no, we cannot. Why? Why does he show more passion about the business than the HR person? Why? Why does he seem to be more interested in the sustenance of the business and business continuity than HR? It's because we don't understand some things, and sometimes we don't get to see what is called the big picture. Great. So we're going to go ahead. Now, I confessed to someone that up till yesterday night, in order to ensure that this session, short as it is, delivers the greatest value, we kept changing the slides. Okay, so one of the few things that we changed, you will find out. I'll show you. Okay, so at the end of this session, it is hoped that each person will understand the need, the relevance, and the expediency for business acumen amongst HR professionals. We will try to dabble into understanding what businesses really are. Each one of us here works for an organization that runs a business. So what really is a business? What is a business? And then we'll delve into business acumen and drill down to financial acumen. Alright? So that's what we're going to do in over the next 40 minutes. Does that sound interesting? Okay, so this is what I included, which was not there before. Each one of us now will take this test. Yeah. Okay, so it's a very simple one. There are multiple option questions. So all I need you to do is to enter A, B, or C, or D. Alright. Is that brother? What's your? No, you will take the test. Everybody will take the test. Don't worry, we're not going to mark it. You're not going to be graded by it. But it's just to show where we are right now in contrast to where we should be. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody here 100%. Okay, so let's start. First question. Oh, okay. First question. Okay, so just enter A, B, C, D. A, B, C, or D. The question is, which of these is an example of a non-current asset? A, cash. B, machinery. C, inventory. D, marketable securities. Which one? Okay, so we have to be very fast. Just enter A, B, C, or D. I'm going to change the slide in the next few seconds. So we move. Question 2. Which of these is a profitability measure? A, gross margin ratio. B, number of days sales in receivable. C, current ratio. And D, long-term debt ratio. Which one? Question 3. Which of the following statements applies to the annual report? A, compares the current 12-month period to the same time in previous years. B, breaks down data into 3-month periods for easy comparison. C, contains fewer details than the quarterly report. And D, always follows a January 1 to December 31 format. Which one is it? A, B, C, or D? Question 4. Which financial statement shows the book value of a company? A, income statement. B, cash flow statement. C, fiscal sheet. And D, balance sheet. I hope you're right. Okay, last one. Which of the following will not be used for business analytics? Which of the following will not be used for business analytics? A, statistical model analysis, rather. B, modeling. C, quantitative analysis. And D, intuition. Which one? Okay, so help me out. And I want you to be honest. We're going to go through the questions again and you'll mark yourself. Be honest. Be honest. Be honest. Alright. Okay, so which of this is an example of a non-current asset? Okay, so if it's a non-current asset, a fixed asset, and that the right answer is machinery. B. Just mark it. Don't tell me whether you got it or not. We'll come to check that later. Okay. Number 2. Which of this is a profitability measure? Right. The right answer is A, gross margin ratio. Don't tell me whether you got it. I see some people smiling. I know. Just don't change the answers either. Number 3. Which of the following statements applies to the annual report? The right answer is A. Number 4. Which financial statement shows the book value of a company? The right answer is balance sheet. D. Which of the following will not be used for business analytics? The right answer is D, intuition. Okay. So if it's not 100%, as in 5 over 5, let me see here. Right. That's all I want to prove. See, here, it's a fact that only 1 out of 10 HR practitioners demonstrates sufficient level of business acumen. So you see, in that test, only about 3 or 4 of us out of everybody here. So see, that's even less than 10%. So it's even less than 1 over 10. When I saw this, I said, no, maybe it's a study done abroad. Let me come and test it in class in Nigeria here. But we've seen the result, so it works in Nigeria too. So it's a fact, only 1 out of 10 HR practitioners demonstrates sufficient level of business acumen. Fact number 2, this is according to a study by Deloitte. Only 4 out of every 10 HR practitioners can link HR data to business performance. And I keep emphasizing this in class on the whole sessions. So you see people report number of people in the factory, number of people who didn't come, number of days people were absent. But what is the correlation between this data we are churning out and business performance? You cannot link it. Less than 4 out of 10. Maybe if we take a test about that, it will even go down to less than 2 out of 10. This we are doing not to discount what you know. We are not doing this to discredit you. We are trying to establish the need. We are trying to establish the urgency we're trying to make everyone here understand why HR does not get called when important decisions are to be taken. We are trying to make you understand why it is that HR does not get the so-called seat at the table. Fact number 3. Now, for people who thought or who still believe that if I have a good relationship with my MD, I can get by. In a survey conducted by SHRM in 2012, all the respondents agreed, or most of the respondents say that business acumen is the most important competency for HR professionals over the next 10 years. Business acumen is even rated ahead of relationship management, which is how you relate with your MD, and communication, which is what most HR people invest their time in. So business acumen is even more important than all of those things. When we're in class, I tell people that the measurement model in SPHRR is very important. If your CEO has not asked you why he's keeping the HR team, one thing he's going to ask you, and what will bring you out, is your mastery of business acumen, which is an extension of measurement. I'm surprised that SPHRI continues to rate measurement low, because this is one of the most critical competencies that you require. It's how you quantify HR service delivery. It's how you quantify return on investment for every HR program that you run. Until you master that, even when they give you a budget of 50 million for training, some of us people receive some of these things. We don't go back to tell them this is how we are added to the company, because we can't even quantify it. So until you master that, you cannot say you're on your way to business acumen. So business acumen is basically about figures. It's basically about the numbers. So let's cut the stories. Let's cut straight to the chase. Fact. Okay. So look at this. Now, business acumen importance rated. So if you have 0 to 2 years of experience, a survey conducted by SHRM in 2012 as well, 56% of respondents say that for someone who has 0 to 2 years of experience, maybe early career, maybe even say 3 years, 56, they say it's important by 6%. But by the time you get to executive level, so if you are here, you're senior manager HR, you're HR manager, you're head of HR, the level of importance of business acumen is what? What is this? 98%. 98%. Meaning that it's almost inevitable. If you don't have it, you are not delivering sufficient value in that role. So do we understand that this is important now? Okay, enough said. So let's move on. But then you can't jump straight to start talking about business acumen when you don't even understand what the business is. So the first word in business acumen is what? Business. Right. So what really is a business? What really is a business? Now, if you try to define what a business is, it depends on whom you are asking. Okay, so you remember the story of the 6 blind men and the elephant. So one said it's a snake, the other one said it's a frog, It depends on whom you are asking. And when I checked the definition of business, this is what I found. Some people said it's an enterprise, some said it's an activity, some said it's an institution, and some say it's what? A legal economic activity. So depending on who you're talking to, the definition of business will change. So for someone who says it's an activity, to that person it's what? An action, a verb. To the person who says it's an institution, it's what? A living entity, like a noun, kind of. You understand what I'm saying? So it depends on who you're talking to. But this is the point of convergence. I like this one from Josh Kaufman, a best-selling author. He's one who wrote Arsenal MD. Okay, so he says every success, and I like the way he puts an adjective in here. So it's not just a business. Successful business must do 5 things. Number 1, they must create or provide value. Number 2, the value they create must be something that other people want or need. Is it possible to create value that people don't want? Is it possible? No. That's business acumen. That's where it starts from. Is it possible to create value that people don't want or need? Yes? So tell me, what would that be? Give me an example of that. Okay, so maybe I'm selling iPhones at a suburb area where people are even struggling to eat. Right? That iPhone is value, right? There's no denying it. But do the people need it? No. Do they want it even? Well, maybe they want it. But even if you offer them, some will even say, look, this is not my worry right now. I need this instead. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's possible to create value. Now, see, as we go along, whenever we're in class like this, I always tell people it's not about the theory. I'm looking forward to someone who can connect the dots and begin to see the connection between what we're saying here and what goes on in the organization. So maybe your MD is complaining that business is not what it used to be. You can even begin to see value here already. Are we creating value? Are we creating value to people who want and need it? Because these are real business issues. Your ability to talk about these things intelligently is the business acumen they're talking about. It's not a special crown or hat that you have to wear. It's something as basic as that. Okay, so let's look at number 3. At the price they are willing to pay. Right? And that is effective demand. For those of us who remember from economics class in those days, right? Wanting something and being able to pay for it. Okay, so at the price they're willing to pay. Now, number 4, satisfies the needs and expectations of the users, meaning that utility must be created. It's not sufficient to create value. You must also create utility. And you have not created utility until the person who bought your value is satisfied. I worked with the boss one time and she would say, you know what, you are not the one to determine the value you're creating. It is the receiver that will tell you, okay, I appreciate this. How many of us have been in that situation where you think you've done the best you should do for your spouse and she's still complaining? Men, right, we've been there. And women too. Women too. Sometimes you spend so much time in the kitchen and he comes back, just picks at it and then goes to bed. And you're like, what? Yeah? So, it's the perception of the value you've created. Okay? So that's number 4 here. Okay? So it must satisfy the needs. You may have spent so much time cooking the goosey, maybe he wants to eat fried rice that night. So it must deliver utility. That's what we're saying. Deliver utility. Do we even measure whether what we are delivering delivers utility? Let me bring this to HR practice. When we even initiate programs, do we find out whether it's what our people want? Are they satisfied by what we deliver, or we're just forcing it down their throats? That is business acumen. All of those things. So you must begin to, as you sit here, don't just think I'm saying theory. As much as is possible, I try to downplay theory when I'm in class. I speak to you in a way that you can connect, so you can see draw pragmatic lessons from whatever we're discussing. Now, lastly, it must provide sufficient revenue to make it worthwhile for the owners to continue operation. When I was in consulting, we used to have, thank God I have someone in the house who know what I'm talking about. We have one finance and admin manager who will say, no, Tolu, this is not a charity. If the guy is not doing, we are not doing that. I'm like, no, but it's not nice. Can't you be humane for once? He said, well, if we are being humane, the business will crumble. This is not a charity, we cannot do this. And we just walk away. It's so mean, so cool. But guess what? He's trying to fulfill this number 5. If you don't generate sufficient revenue to make it worthwhile, one day you come to work and they'll tell you there's nothing to do because there's no money to pay people. Okay? So is this, can we move on? Great. Sorry, pardon me. It's my nature. I want to ask like that. Is it okay? Am I making sense? So please, pardon me. It's just my nature. Maybe I'm trying to fulfill this number 4. It's just my nature. Okay, so let's move on. Now, business. Please, let's go back to this first. Here, think about it. We can even take about another 10 minutes on this slide alone. So I'll ask you, what is the value that your company creates? Don't look at it superficially. Think about it deeply. Okay, so maybe the value you create is you sell this. But the question is, why do people buy? That is the real value. That is the real value. Why do they buy? So what is the value that your company creates? So this one, we can spend another 15, 20 minutes having an exercise on this page, on the slide alone. What is the value your organization creates? And I want you to take that as an exercise. Even though we're not going to spend time on it here now, you can draw a table. My organization, number 1, the value we create, and then we list it. Number 2, what do people want or need? What do the people want? What do they need? What does the market want? What the market wants in a recession will even be different from what they want maybe under Jonathan. You understand? So what do people want right now? Number 3, what price are they willing to pay? reason sales, is not exactly as. We can spend some more time on all of this, but let's move on. Yes, let's move on because of time. Now, business, irrespective of whatever it is, whether you're a roadside shoemaker or you're a big conglomerate or a multinational, this same thing is common to all. Number one, value creation. Number two, it involves finance. Number three, it involves risk. Number four, it involves production and exchange. So these are common traits you find in every business. Have you seen a business that produces and sells to itself? No. So they need to exchange what they have produced, the value they've created. They must deliver it to someone and get something in return. What they get in return could be cash. In some cases, it's not cash. So it involves production and exchange. Involves utility. We already talked about that. Involves profit. That is the last point of the previous slide. Okay? So it must be worthwhile. So it involves profit. If you're running a business that does not involve profit, it's a waste of time. And it's not a business. Maybe it's an NGO, right? But even NGO, they need to break even, otherwise they go under. Right? And then recurrence. You can't say you're running a business, you run the business for 1 week and you're closed shop. So business has to be sustainable. It must reoccur for a reasonable amount of time for you to say, okay, well, this is a business. Come to think of it. You went somewhere yesterday, you ate amala there, and then you go back 3 days later and say, Mama, leave it come again. You understand? That's not business. Or how do you feel? You get to a store, you're beginning to build a relationship with them. And then they are open. The other day, they're not there. You go there another time, they're open. You're like, these guys don't know how to do business. You will say that these guys don't know how to do business. So it has to reoccur consistently over a period of time for you to say, well, this is a business. Can we move on? Great. So then, we have a fair idea of what business is about. But I like to do this in class too. Without checking your notes, can you just tell me off the top of your head 3 things that you think a business should, or the traits of a business? 3. From the previous slide that we just moved away from. What? Sorry? Value creation, yeah, value delivery as well. And I'll maybe talk about that later. Value creation and delivery, yeah, let's come together. Okay, well, what else? Recurrence, yeah. What else? Utility, beautiful. Profit. Good. So you're getting something. Now, don't just learn the books. When you get back to your office on Monday, check. Where does your organization sit on all of this? How is your organization financed? Where do you get money? Is it from investors? Do you get a loan from the bank? If you get a loan from the bank, how does that affect your projections? How does that affect how you disburse cash? How does that affect your cash flow? These are things you need to be conscious of. Okay, so let's move on. What is business acumen? So then, what is business acumen? Well, business acumen is mastery of 3 things at the same time. 1, financial acumen. 2, strategy and systems. And 3, business context. Okay, so if you want, you're looking for definition, because some people really like definition. I'll put something small on the side there. Okay, so business acumen is a key insight into how your business operates and how it makes money and sustains profitable growth. Okay, maybe what is missing here is this business context, because you need to squeeze that into your definition as well. I've seen so many HR people or even business people, they sit during strategy sessions and they say, this is what we are going to do. So you want an HR consulting company and you say, this is what I'm going to do in 2017. That thing you decided to do or you have chosen to do, have you considered what your competitors are doing? You think you operate in a vacuum? Do you think that thing you're planning to do, when you launch it, you'll be the only person doing it? What if every other person is going to do exactly the same thing? What will happen to that strategy? Okay, so you must understand business context. So let's look at this in the next slide here. Now, see, I won't use the F word that Einstein used. I won't use that, But let's just say anybody can know. These facts pass by our desks on a daily basis. We see them. We see them on a daily basis, but we do not know how to connect the dots. And that's what they're saying here. It's not about knowing, it's about understanding. It's possible that in this room we have people who have an MBA degree. It's possible that we have people who have a master's degree. Well, that is knowing. How do we, and Jibola said exactly the same thing earlier. How do we translate that to the job? So it's not about an MBA, it's not about having all the certifications, it's about having, even if it's only one, know how to apply that. You see, it's about understanding. Because these things are not new. They pass by our desk on a daily basis rather. Sometimes when you sit in management meetings, they'll tell you how much they have outstanding in receivables. How does that impact HR? So we know, but we do not understand. So let's look at it. Those three things we mentioned: financial acumen, strategy, systems. I put these two together. They are not exactly the same thing, but I'll just put them together for the sake of. And then you have business context. So financial acumen basically is understanding business drivers. Okay, you understand business drivers. When you talk about business drivers, you're talking about maybe cash, assets, profit, people, growth. Those are 5 major business drivers. And then you're talking about budgets, understanding financial statements, and key performance measures. And when I say key performance measures, I'm not talking about individual KPIs. I'm talking about organizational performance measures. So how do you know that my organization is doing well? Okay, so that's what you need. If you're able to master all of these things, then you would have been said to have financial acumen. Strategy and systems. So first, strategy, let's just simply say what your organization wants or needs at a particular point in time. Okay, so the organization cannot be thinking about maybe creating a contingency workforce, and you are thinking about launching a retention program. So you must know what your organization wants and needs at every point in time, and it's the part here about strategy. Okay? For systems, you need to understand that business is like a connection of different systems all running together at the same time. Matter of fact, who would describe a business as a complex layer of systems? So you have finance running, you have HR running, you have legal running, you have operations running, you have marketing running. All these are systems, but they must fit together at the end of the day. And you must understand the connection between all of them, such that if anything happens in legal, it's going to have implication all across all the units. If anything happens in HR, it's going to have an impact all across. If anything happens in finance, it has an impact all across. You must understand that. That is the big picture. What are we talking about here? Let me remind you, what we're talking about is business acumen. Right? And we said it's the combination of 3 things. Financial acumen, which we have defined as the understanding of business drivers, budgets, and all those financial statements and all that. Most of us don't even bother to look at financial statements. It doesn't concern us. And then strategy and systems. Alright, we've defined this one. Then the third one is business context. What we talk about business context? Your business does not exist in isolation. It interacts. First, it exists within an environment, and then it interacts with that environment. And one of those things in the environment, you're talking about customers, competitors, suppliers, and other external factors or agencies like governments, or even new technologies. Okay, so if a new technology comes up that helps your competitors to deliver faster and better results, what is the impact on your own business? Are you thinking about that? So if you're not thinking about that, and you're seeing our strategy this year is to launch into the north and conquer the north. Meanwhile, your competitors are already investing in technology. You roll out in the north, quite alright, but nobody's going to buy because there's better value with your competitors. So you cannot start to think about business. Now, if you do not understand it, you cannot be said to have business acumen, because all of this is not together. You must understand. So when you are sitting to decide what you will do with your HR strategy, you must be conscious of what's going on in the environment. Will the recession support what we are doing? Will our current revenue support what we are doing? Are there government regulations that may impact what we are choosing to do? What is the labor market like? What is the interaction between the demand and supply in the labor market? How will that impact what we are trying to do? We can't dive down into all of these things in too many details right now because of time, but that's what we're talking about. Is it still making sense? Can I continue? Great. So let's move on. So now, for the purpose of this session, we're going to drill down to financial acumen. Okay? Remember, there are 3 things you need to know. This one, and please, I always tell people when we're in class, don't bother trying to remember the definition verbatim. Just understand it and put it in your own words. So that when someone asks you, you can talk about it. So don't try to bother yourself with, oh, how did they define strategy? How did they define systems? Forget. It's not important. But you know what they are. Financial acumen, you know what it is. And business context, you know what that means. Right? So now we're going to look at this sector here in deeper details. What is financial acumen? What exactly are we talking about? Now, financial acumen, if you go into that sector, it has further 3 subcomponents. And they are, what is this? Beautiful. And beautiful. Okay, so if you go into that compartment where you have financial acumen, you're going to find 3, we'll call them seeds, call them subcomponents, call them whatever works for you. Okay, so that's what you find. So what are this? Now, before we go on to talk about this in details, you need to understand that how you will require financial acumen will vary depending on where you are in your career. Remember, we're talking about competencies, and if you're familiar with competencies, you understand that for every competency, there is usually a defined proficiency level. So the kind of proficiency you expect of someone who has been there for 17 years is not the same level of proficiency you expect from someone who is just starting. So if you are here and you have just 0 to 3 years of experience, probably financial acumen for you would be limited to basic knowledge of HR metrics. And we're going to be talking about all of this in a short while. So in case you're looking at this HR metrics, what is it talking about? We'll look at it in other details in a few minutes. Okay, so if you're in your early career, maybe basic knowledge of HR metrics will suffice. But by the time you're at senior level, you must be able to deploy financial acumen for building business cases for HR projects and initiatives. Let me say something about that. You know, I've worked in a few places, and I just see that people say 2017 training plan, and they'll just gather Ken Doctor Associates certification edge. They just gather all the training and put them together. The question is, what needs generated this proposal? What is the business case for each of these proposals? How are we going to demonstrate return on investment for each of these trainings? That is what you need here. Building business cases for HR projects. So HR is slow in service delivery because we need an HRIS, right? And the MD says, okay, you know what? You have been disturbing me too much about listening. Go and build a business case for this. How will you do that? What should you do? Right now, do you even do that? Maybe you even build a business case because you want to get money. When you get the money, do you go back to show them how what you've done has impacted the business and the value you've delivered? In quantifiable measures. I'm not talking about stories. Not stories about people now come early because we have installed the biometrics machine. No. If people come early, what value has that added to the organization? What quantifiable, if possible in naira and kobo, value has that added to your organization? That's what we're talking about. Okay, so I'm sure you find the rest of this on the slide, so you can fix yourself anywhere on the grid and then determine what level of financial acumen proficiency you require. So let's move on. So let's start. Let's remember there are 3. Right? Let's read them again. This is what? HR metrics, and this is what? And this is what? Okay, great. So let's look at the first one, HR metrics. So when we talk about HR metrics, what are we talking about? Okay? Now, for me, basically, this is about being able to quantify in measurable terms HR programs and HR service delivery. Being able to quantify what you do on a day-to-day basis. You know, some CEOs can be mean, can just have a bad day and come to ask you, what are you even doing in this office? What? You issue disciplinary letters. I can tell all the line managers to be doing that. What else do you do? Performance management. You're not the one who rates them, it's the line managers. So what else do you do? I hope somebody will start to talk about organizing end of the year party. Exactly. So it's about being able to say, this is what I do, this is value I deliver, this is how I impact the bottom line. In quantifiable terms, objectively. That is what this is about, HR metrics. And we all need to master it, all of us. Okay? So, talk about HR metrics, we're looking at things like HR expense factor. Okay, we'll look at, maybe the formula or the definition of some of this things. Okay, HR expense factor, you're looking at HR cost as a percentage of revenue. You're looking at things like human capital, ROI. You're looking at things like total compensation, expense. Okay? We'll take some time to talk about all of these things in greater details, but maybe because of time, we will do that. Okay? Alright, so you must master HR metrics. You must really, how many of us have gone through the SPHR certification? SPHR, okay, great. I'm sure those who have gone through it may have encountered some of this. If you are here, you want on that. That's the next target. And certification edge, they run fantastic courses on that. So you want to do that. Alright, so let's look at some of these things. Marginal productivity, basically that describes the additional productivity that you're able to get from every other employee that you add to the organization. Okay, so when we were 20, we were generating 5 million. So we thought business should expand, and we added another 10. Shouldn't we be generating at least 7.5 million? If we are generating 6 million, it means the marginal productivity is not optimal and something is wrong. So it's either we go back to status quo and we work the plan. But the question is, do you even have an idea what it is, revenue per employee in your organization right now? So in 2016, what's the revenue your organization generated? In 2015, what was the revenue? What's the percentage variance? You should know. We have a right to know. Except you ask and they tell you you're not entitled to it. Go ask your finance manager, I want to see in the last 3 years, in the last 5 years, how much revenue have you generated? And then you by yourself, considering how many employees you have in the organization, you can calculate the average revenue per employee. So if in 2017 you are adding more people, you can tell marginal productivity is rising or not. It's that simple. And don't you think your MD will like you if you go to him and start pointing out that, okay, I'm worried. Marginal productivity has been diminishing. The last 3 campaigns that we ran, we have brought in 20 more people, but you know what? Marginal productivity has dropped. Don't you think he will like you? That's business argument. That's what it is. So it is not enough to be content with managing HR functions alone. You must also be interested in the business. Is it making sense? I think yes. Okay. So HR expense factor. So you calculate that by dividing HR expense by total operating expense. Okay. When you say HR expense, everything that goes into HR, everything. So the cost of paying salaries, the cost of your programs, the cost of the new systems that you implemented, the cost of paying consultants. All of those things put together will form your HR expense. Then you divide this by total operating expense. Now you can measure this and even decide to see whether HR expense is what? Increasing. So next time it comes to tell you you're not generating money, you say, yes, I may not be generating money, but I'm optimized. What? Or I'm operating a very efficient system. So guess what? HR expense factor is decreasing. But you wouldn't know if you don't have the data. So you go find out.